an absolute instruction manual for everything. And then some people say, but we spend money and we get no results and so on. So we're going to run through ways to hopefully make your flow marketing more efficient and get better results. But I also always say, I mean, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean if you place an ad and you pay 400 Rand for it, that you're necessarily going to sell the property right there and then. It's not magic. I mean, that would be too easy. So, I mean, even Property 24, you are paying for Property 24, even though you don't think so, because eXp is paying for it. And sometimes they pay for it and you're getting for months and months, and you also don't get the property sold. So it's not magic, but you're going to see it just really broadens your audience. And we have huge success using basically Facebook paid marketing, because that's really what it is. The flow system just makes it a lot easier. Okay, so let's first touch on, I'm just going to first talk about Facebook. Look, Meta is a company that owns Facebook and Instagram. So when you place paid ads basically on Facebook, you go to the back end if you do it yourself. Before Flow was there to help us, you would have to go into Facebook's business end and you have to go and place ads there. I could show you what that looks like because I've been doing it for years. And that gets very technical so that you don't waste your money, because especially to choose the right people and the right interests and things like that, which I'll touch on. So the main thing is going into paid Facebook and doing paid ads has been very, very successful for us. And now Flow just makes it easier for most of the agents to actually be able to do that. And why have we been using paid, well, Facebook and Instagram advertising for so long? Because there's a reason. I mean, if you put your ad on Property 24, it's actually giving you a very, very limited audience. I know we don't think so, because that's, I mean, where we get all our leads from, right? But it's a very limited audience. And why really is that? Because if you place an ad, let's just call it in Durbanville. I mean, I'm not going to narrow down into suburbs. Let's just call it Durbanville. Then who is going to really see that ad? It's only somebody who's actively, firstly, going onto Property 24 and actively searching for properties in Durbanville. They will see that ad. Then sometimes it even comes down to price, because they are maybe searching in a price range. Maybe they're searching between 2 and 2.5 million, and now your property is 2.6 million. They might buy it for 2.5, but now they're not searching in that price range. I'm just going to quickly, sorry about that, just going to quickly draw the curtain here. I'm back. It's been cloudy here, so we didn't have anything, and suddenly the sun came out and popped its head in here. Okay, so that's the other thing. So maybe they're searching in a price range, so they're not seeing your property. And the only other way they really see it is if they're not actively looking on Property 24, is they go to Property 24 and they set up alerts so that they'll receive email alerts for new listings. But there again, they will obviously set up email alerts for, let's say, Durbanville, and for a price range, maybe 2.5. So if your property is just next to Durbanville or in the suburb next to the suburb that you're actually advertising your property on, the person doesn't see it, or if it falls just outside the price range, the person doesn't see it. So you're actually missing out on a lot of potential buyers that would possibly buy your property. So what Facebook ads really does is it really broadens your audience, because now what you can do by using the correct sort of targeting and so on, which we're going to show you today, is you can make sure your listing is now being shown to buyers who are maybe not actively searching in your suburb, but searching in someone else's suburb. But it could also be people that are actively searching in your suburb, but just in the wrong price range, even though they would buy your property. Also, I mean, you could have now you would have ads actually appearing in people's feeds when they're on social media, where previously you were really relying on them actively searching on Property 24 or wherever for your ads. So as I said, myself and Lydia can vouch for this, we rarely sell more than half of our properties from paid Facebook advertising. More than half, definitely. And that's when all those properties are on Property 24 as well. So we all know how it works. You know, you load your property on Property 24, and you know, if it goes well in the beginning, it's great. And then 2 to 3 weeks later, it starts dying a slow death. And then you really just sit there sort of twiddling your thumbs and hoping, right? But you should actually actively be looking for buyers. So what we do generally, for instance, I won't necessarily with a new listing, unless it's an open mandate and we really, you know, in competition with other people, I would generally, you go sort of through a process of your marketing, however you do it. So start with the property 24s. Don't necessarily spend money on your paid advertising yet. First see what happens on the property 24s and so on. Send it to your database. Whatever you usually do, you do. And then after a while, that's how we do it. Sort of maybe after 3 weeks or so, if I haven't got the desired results, then I start my paid Facebook and Instagram marketing campaigns. Okay, so the main thing to remember here, okay, so why flow? Let's just say that. We've spoken now about why would you want to advertise on social media. That's really to broaden your reach and bring in buyers that would not have seen your property. Now, why would we want to use flow? Okay, so I have been doing these Facebook ads for a long time, as I said, and it's quite technical. You've got to get in there, you've got to create the ad and so on. That's already quite a thing in its own. But the main thing is targeting into the right buyers. Because if you spend money just by choosing an area or whatever, you could waste a lot of money. Because I mean, then anybody who goes on Facebook who is in that area or has recently been in that area is going to see your ad, and quite possibly, I mean, obviously 99% of the people that are just in that area on Facebook are not interested in buying a house right now. So you've got to start targeting it down, sort of by what people are interested in and so on. And I mean, that's what Facebook does very well. Obviously, they're tracking our behaviors all the time, right? They're looking at what are we doing online? What are we searching for? What websites are we visiting? So they're getting all that information, and you need to then hone in on the right people based on the information they have. But that gets very, very technical. And it's quite a learning curve to get that right on your own. Now, what Flow Marketing does is they have honed in on this, and they provide the service to us as agents. But they are the experts in that. So as you're going to see, you're going to choose certain things to define your audience, but they are the experts in the rest to make sure that the right people in those areas and age groups are receiving it, people that are likely to possibly buy property at the moment. So we'll go into that a bit later as well. So to start off, I guess, let me share my screen so we all know where we are at. Entire screen. Everybody see my screen at the moment? All good? Great.
Yes,
Thank you. Okay. So Flow Marketing is basically a company that provides these services to us. They will provide it to any agent. I mean, it's not for eXp specifically, but they obviously charge a subscription fee every month. That's where they really make their money, is through a subscription fee. Now that gets paid for you by eXp. Okay. What you are going to see, obviously, is you actually have to pay for the ad, right? I mean, because that's ad spend. We can't just all go and make ads and 500 Rand here and 300 Rand there, all 1,300 agents, and eXp must just pay. So you will pay the ad spend. That is basically what actually goes to Facebook. So that's important to know. It is going to cost you money, but it's money well spent, as we're going to show you later. And we've got to invest in our businesses. That's just one of those things, you know. So I know it's difficult for agents often to take out money on a monthly basis and spend it on things like ads. But even if you haven't got it right now, when you get the first commissioning, start putting a bit of money aside and start budgeting to be able to market your properties better and so on. And the other nice thing about this is when you're spending money on ads, even if that specific ad isn't immediately successful in selling the property, it's still out there in your area and in your farming area. So other people are also seeing that, because sellers will also see it because they also have property interests, etc. So they will also be the sort of interested parties that Facebook will be targeting. Sorry. Okay, so as you see there, that's just your Okta. Just so people know, if they haven't never used it before, you'll see my flow block is on the right top there. Yours might be in a different place because, as you know, you can drag them around. So you just click on flow and it takes you right into your flow setup. That's exactly where you start. So right there, you'll actually see my campaigns that I've got running at the moment. So to start off, okay, what you need to know is we're in a bit of a transition at the moment, but just before PropCon took over, your listings were feeding through immediately to Flow, well, not immediately, but from Rep, they fed through to Flow. So they would be sitting on your content tab on the left there, if you can see that. I'm not going to go into it now because flow seems a bit slow this morning, but I'll show you just now. And so your listings will be sitting there ready for you to place ads if you want to, any specific listing. At the moment, they're not feeding through. It's just because of this immediate transition with PropCon. That's the one they're working on now. They first worked on the Property 24 feeds and so on, and then the list globally feeds they're busy with, and you know, in the James edition. So next up is going to be Flow, and they're probably busy with it already to get the listings feeding through to Flow. And we're actually even hoping that in your PropCon on the listing, you'll just click a button. But nevertheless, the point is your listings will be here ready for you to start marketing. Sorry. Okay. So what you do when you're here is if you want to start a campaign, is you click on Start a Campaign. We'll go through the other menu items on the left a bit later, the analytics and the content. But you're going to say you want to start a campaign. That means you want to start placing an ad. Now with Flow, you've got two options of ads. They've got their own names for it. So the one is Flow Fuel and the other is Flow Brand. The Flow Brand at the bottom, when you click on that, you'll get all sorts of templates you can choose for. That's more of a sort of a consistent ad that you might want to be running in your farming areas or so on. You know, the typical introduction of you as an agent, or I do free evaluations, something that you'd want ongoing in a certain area and that you would pay X amount for per month. So I'm not going to go into that today. I want to concentrate on Flow Fuel, which is advertising your listings. And so that's exactly what it is. You can advertise your listings. So you just click on Start. Now you'll have a whole lot of templates you can choose from. That's just basically what the ad's going to look like. And then from there on, you're going to choose which listing you want to advertise. There are also at the top, you'll see there's a public template, which is for other agents that use Flow. But because eXp is obviously their biggest client, you have a whole lot of eXp templates here. I'm just going to choose a simple template. Let's just choose this one over here. Doesn't really matter which one, and say next. Okay. Thank you. Maybe I can hear my throat is a bit hoarse. Right, so now I've chosen a template. So here you see it now. Let me make it a little bit smaller. I hope you can still see. So the point of this screen, basically, what you see here where I've got my mouse, so basically on the left half over here, that is what the ad is going to look like. So as you're progressing with creating your ad, you will keep seeing here what it's going to look like to the public when they are on Facebook and they're browsing. That's what's going to be coming through as the sponsored ad. We all know the sponsored ads. Okay, right now it's just very basic because it's got no content. The first thing you need to do is you need to make sure that Flow is going to be using your Facebook business account so that people will see it's you placing the ad. So on the right over here, that's just very important to know if I haven't said that yet. So to place Facebook ads through Meta, you have to have a Facebook business account. Okay, you can't place it through your personal account. So you must have a Facebook business account, which you are then going to link up to Flow so that they've got your details and so that they can place the ads through your business account. If you don't have a Facebook business account, it's extremely easy to set up. Just Google it, but basically you would just go into your personal Facebook profile and you just create a business account. Okay, it doesn't have to have any content in or anything. You just need a business account to channel the ads through. Now, once you're here on the right-hand side, first thing you would want to do is make sure it's using your Facebook business account. So I click there on that little drop-down box, which says Facebook account. And then everybody in eXp's Facebook business accounts are there that have already registered them to use Flow. So you'll see everybody's over there. I know what mine is called, and I'm going to go down to Team Lydia and Andre and choose that. So there's my Facebook business account. I'm going to choose that so that you will see when I choose it, it'll appear on the left at the top there where it says Facebook account so that people will know it's us placing the ad. If you haven't registered your Facebook business account on Flow yet, then you won't see yours over here, so you can't place ads yet. Then you just scroll right down on this list, so right down to the bottom, and you click on that little block which says connect my Facebook account. That'll take you through a process where you're just basically giving Flow all the details they need to connect through your Facebook account to place ads. And then in the future, obviously, then yours will be sitting here. So right, I'm going to choose Team Lydia and Andre. That's our Facebook account. The minute I choose that, you'll see on the left here, now that's appearing. So that's now how it's going to look when it's on Facebook, and people are going to know it's us placing the ad. Right, now we're going to start working on the content. So what's very easy here is at the bottom left there, you'll see I'm hovering over the block called Select a Listing. So because we're in My Flow, When I say select a listing, it's going to take me to all our listings, which, as I said, have now fed through from rec previously and will soon start feeding through from flow. So here I've got all our listings, and I'm just going to choose one. So let's choose the top one over there, and let's start creating an ad. So I'll say, okay, I want to advertise Flumboom 45, which is in Periodically, and I'm going to say next. Sorry. Right. Now you start seeing stuff appearing. Now this has got some details, right, for this specific property. So on the left now you'll see, but you're going to be able to tweak a lot of this information. So on the left you see what people are seeing over there. For instance, book. I'm going to enlarge it a bit. Book a stunning viewing for this, and on the right you'll see the same. So we could change that. So if I don't want to say book that, I want to change the wording and just say, oh, whatever. I'm not going to spend too much time. Let's just say I only wanted to say view this or whatever. Okay, you use your own wording, but as you change it over there, it changes over there. You can even go a bit longer, and it'll just have a read more button over there. So that's great. Even this for sale, which you see on the right here, it's there in text. That's the headline. So you'll see that at the bottom there. If I change that, like I'm not really, I just usually leave it, but just to say buy this now or book a viewing, whatever. You'll see as I'm changing it on the right, it's changing on the left as well. Okay, let's change it back to for sale. Okay, there you see it changed back. And even the 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, so that it is taken from our listing. Okay, and this specific template has it like that. I could change it. I could say, but it's very important for people to know that it's got 3 garages, let's say. So I can add that in. There you see at the bottom left now, it's got 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 3 garages. If I wanted to add more, sometimes what I do is I just change the bedrooms to beds and the bathroom to baths and so on, so that I can even add more information in there. Anyway, so you sort of tweak this ad so that it's what you want. Sometimes at the top there, view the stunning house in Periodically. I've usually got a sort of a nice catch line that I've created for my listings, and I put that in there. So you tweak it. This is now what your ad is going to look like when people see it. Now, the other thing you can do, you'll see there's the picture of the house, which the system has now chosen from our listing. It's usually just the first picture. If I don't like that image, I can also go and change that. Now, at the bottom over here, where it says, you'll see it says change listing, if I wanted to choose another listing, or change the cover image. So if I click on change cover image, it brings that listing's images up. So now I could, if I wanted to change the, let's just say I want to use that lounge picture for argument's sake. I choose that. There you'll see the ad now has a lounge picture. When we chose these templates originally, I chose this template. You'll see there are also templates which could take 4 pictures, etc., and then you choose 4 images. So it just depends which template you use. Okay, sorry. Let me just take a sip of this. Okay, so now you're happy with what the ad's going to look like. Now you're going to go to the next part, which is basically going to say now, who do we want to see this, and who do we want to target, and what areas do we want to target? So this is where it becomes very, very important. So when I say go at the bottom right and I say next, so I'm happy with the content basically and what the ad looks like. There we go. Now you get to choose certain things of who you want to see this specific ad. So you can obviously choose the age group, sorry, which is by default it's 25 to 60, which is sort of mostly the age group most people buy in. But you can tweak that so that you're not wasting money if you think so. For instance, let's say it's a very high-end property. You could think there's very few 25-year-olds, so I don't want all the 25-year-olds seeing it. Change that to just go to the drop down and say, no, I want people between 30 and 60 to view this specific property. I don't think, otherwise I'll be wasting money on the wrong people. So that's one thing you can choose. And now by default, you're going to choose which area or areas. This is where the power comes in. So you can target different areas for people to see it. By default, obviously, you'll see this property was in Periodically, but always by default chooses your suburb by 3 kilometers. I can even remove that. I'm going to do it now, but for a start, the first thing you need to do when you see your area or any extra areas you're going to choose, which I'm going to do now, Very important, you know your area. You must zoom in and start looking at where that radius falls. The reason for this is you know your area and you don't want to find out, oh, but half of this or a quarter of this circle actually covers like a squatter camp or an informal settlement. Because those people, they are also on Facebook, okay? And so you don't want to be wasting your money on people who wouldn't buy it. So you must go and check this out and make sure that's all right. Otherwise, you're going to tweak it. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove that feather cliff. Now there's nothing. Okay, well, I won't remove it until I add something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, okay, before we go further, let's just say now. So I'm going to target that area, but I'm going to make the radius smaller. That's what I'm going to do now. Now, what else would you want to choose? This is where the power comes in. As I said, Property 24 is only showing it to people who are searching in Feather Kloof on Property 24 and in a specific price range. But now I know, and this is where there's no one size fits all. You know your areas. So you start thinking, in my case, let's just take this specific one. So Feather Kloof actually falls under Brackenfell, but it's very close to many schools. Some of the Brackenfell schools are also very many of the Durbanville schools, and the price range of that property, etc. Now I'm thinking to myself, so who else would possibly buy this property but may not be looking in Feather Kloof? So I know my area, so I'm going to say, okay, well, close by there is a suburb called Sonstraal. It's a Durbanville suburb. So I searched for Sonstraal. There I go, Sonstraal. Now I'm going to say I don't want the radius too big because I'm going to choose multiple areas. But it doesn't mean I've got to choose 1 kilometer. I'm just doing that now. Okay, so I choose, okay, I want people in who are searching in Sonstraal to also see it. So there you'll now see there's another little circle. Now I'm going to remove the Feather Kloof. That's just because I don't want that big radius necessarily, because I'm going to rather choose multiple little ones. Now I choose Feather Kloof again after deleting the original one and choose that as 1 kilometer as well. So here you can see now my search is starting to target those areas. Okay. But what you need to know, we will go into more areas now. Okay, let me first just choose the areas. Let's go Sonstraal. I'm going to choose different areas there. In this specific case, areas that cover schools around there. So let's just say, for instance, Amanda Glen. As I say, I'm just showing you the functionality. You would know your areas and choose them differently. Like that 1 kilometer. So you could go and I could choose a whole lot of areas. Okay. Again, I go and check my borders, make sure they're not on informal settlements, etc. Right. So now I'm starting to target different people. But now this is where the power of flow marketing comes in. As I said, it gets very technical if you place your own ads in Facebook on your own, because you've now chosen areas and you've chosen an age group, but still there's a lot of people in those areas, because basically all you've chosen is, I want people who are between the age of 30 and 60 in this specific case, who have been or are in those areas to see this. So I haven't specified anything else. So within Facebook's back end, if you do your own ads, this is where it becomes tricky. Okay, because you got to start honing in on what people have been doing recently. So Facebook, as I said, tracks your behavior. So they're busy tracking what are you busy searching for at the moment, what type of websites are you visiting, etc. And now you would want to hone in on people who have got the right interests, who are most likely to be possibly wanting to buy property. And that's a very technical thing to do in Facebook. And this is what Flow does. If you just go to the bottom here, you'll see buyers, interests, and behaviors. It's just a block. You can't change it. They will be, it actually says there for Hover, your ads will be shown to people who are likely property buyers in the market. Flow picks this up with interest and behavior targeting of people who are browsing property content, mortgage calculators, etc. That's the whole point. You see, so they are going to go and hone in, and they're going to make sure within Facebook there are options you can choose, but you've got to know which ones to choose. So they will choose people who have recently been on websites like Property 24. They will choose people who have been searching for certain property-related things, such as house for sale in an area, a specific area, etc. Maybe searching for schools in an area, which indicates they're thinking of relocating there because their kids will be going to school. Searching for mortgage calculators, searching for mortgage originators, which shows their interest in buying property. So it's those type of interests that Flow is now honing in on your behalf, because they know how to do it, to make sure that you are likely to get quality leads of people that would be thinking of buying property. Okay, so you're targeting different areas, which is broadening it much broader than Property 24 would, and they honing in on the people to make sure it's the right type of buyer. Okay, so if I'm happy with that, I can add more areas. This is very, very handy. You just think of your area. If you've got a flat in a certain area, you think, okay, but there might be people in an area 3 kilometers away who will very easily buy this flat, but they don't know to search in that specific area. So they're searching in Saunstraal Heights, and you've got a flat in Fredericksburg. Then you start targeting buyers in Saunstraal Heights because there are so many flats there, so a lot of people are searching there. Okay, so there is a little bit of sort of your own input has to come in here. You do need to know your area and start thinking a bit out of the box. Once you're happy with that, so now you've got your area sort of targeted, etc. Sorry. Then you would go next. So now basically what's going to happen is now you've got to actually pay for the ad. Now here as well, people get a fright and they tell me, oh, they just supposed to spend 450 Rand in 3 days. It's extremely expensive. As I said, firstly, there's no magic. It might not bring you the buyer immediately. But what you do here in any case is you can at least customize the amount you're going to pay. So by default, it says 450 Rand for 3 days. Okay. So Facebook is going to, for a certain amount of money, they will show your ad to a certain amount of people. At least you have now chosen, and together with Flow, chosen which type of people will see it. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that for 450 Rand, they will show it to 10, well, there it actually says ad views. Let's just say they'll show it to 5,000 people. Whether you spend more, whether you spend the same amount of money is going to show it to the same amount of people, but it's just going to, the days are going to differ. But now when you use the drop down box over there by the 450 Rand, and you drop down to see what your other options is, oh, then you really get a fright, because your next one is 900 Rand for 7 days, and the one after that is 1,800 Rand. So you think, oh my dear, tried once for 450. I always go to the bottom where it says custom budget and duration. It's something you can easily miss, obviously. So now there you can choose how much you want to spend and for how long the ad must show. And I prefer that. I would rather take the 450 Rand and not have it show in 3 days, even though it might show to 5,000 people in 3 days. My personal experience from doing my own Facebook ads is I'd rather spend the same amount of money over more days and give Facebook time to realize exactly who is actually responding to the ads as well, because Facebook also gets sort of more clever as it goes on and starts targeting similar people there again. Okay, so you can change this. Okay, it immediately goes to 560. Let's just say even you only want to spend 300 Rand. You can say 300 Rand. And now you're just going to tweak how long it's going to be for. You can't say 300 Rand for 10 days. Facebook will have a certain limit. So you can play around. It's usually 50, maybe 60 Rand a day. I'm going to quickly go here. So 300 Rand. Today's date is the 15th. Let's say we want to try 6 days. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to the 21st. I'll click OK. It says, no, the budget is too low. So I can either add 50 Rand or maybe make 1 day less. Let me just see. Let's not happy either. Let's add. So you're just playing around. There we go. It's happy with 320 Rand. And the 20th is now 5 days away. Okay, so it's sort of 60 Rand a day, it seems. That's what they will accept. So at least you've got 5 days and you're not paying 450 Rand. Okay, so you can pay as much as you want and just play around with the duration. So there at least now, as I say, you can see you don't have to spend an immense amount of money as you first thought you did when you saw those options 450 and 900 and 1,800. So on the right now, you'll see there is your ad budget. They do add the VAT. So you will now have to, as I said, you've got to pay the ad spend, right? The eXp is paying your subscription to Flow, but you must pay for the actual ad. Right. So at the bottom, you simply say purchase and go live, and then you, with your credit card, you pay for that ad. eXp often has sort of incentives. Very often, so sometimes maybe when in a certain month, if a sale is registered, then the next month you get a nice email from Flow saying you've got a Flow voucher, usually 450 Rand. It's not guaranteed at this, but they do often have incentives like that. And then when you come here and you'll see you actually don't have to pay for that ad if you did have a voucher like that. Okay, so that sometimes happens, but okay, in general, you actually have to pay pay for your ad. Right, so you place the ad, and now it starts showing exactly like the ad looks on the left there. It'll start showing to people. Now what is nice is when people click on the Learn More button, they've also made it so that you start getting better quality leads. Because if you place your own ad on Facebook, very often, oh, you get a whole lot of rubbish, or not necessarily rubbish, because you have targeted the correct type of people, but all they see here is one picture, right? One image, and your short description. There's only so much you can put on the Facebook ad itself. And then they click and they say, yes, they want to go and see the property, but they've actually got so little detail about the property. And when they get there, then it's really not what they thought it was going to be. And there's a lot of time wasting that happens. So with Flow, what happens is when they click on the Learn More, it first takes them to a landing page with the full details. So I'm going to show you that basically on the left where you see content. That is where all your listings actually sit, and where you chose them from when you were creating the ad, which fed through from eXp and from PropConsume. Okay, so now you can actually see, I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So let's say this specific one, when they click on it, this is what they're going to see. I'm just clicking on preview here. So they click on the ad in Facebook, and they first come to this landing page where firstly you'll see there's a description, the read more. This is exactly as you place the listing in your eXp system in PropCon. Okay, so with all the same wording, etc., you can click here on view gallery and they will see all the images. So now they're getting a proper landing page with all the details of the property, and from there they will then say contact agent. So now you're getting a fairly warm lead that really has a good idea of what the property offers before sort of wasting your time taking them to see the property. So what I also just want to show you on the content part here. So as I said, your listings will appear here that you have actually loaded. Okay. And soon from PropCon as well. But what if you want to advertise a property that has not been loaded in the eXp system, or you have not fed through to the eXp website, etc.? You can also, on the right-hand side here at the top, you'll see you can actually manually add a listing. So let's just say, even a money listing, maybe someone invites you to work on a property that they've got the mandate on and they want to share with you 50-50, and you ask them, can I place ads on social media? And they say yes, because usually they will not allow you to advertise on Property 24, obviously, just as you wouldn't. If you have a mandate, you only want sort of your listing on Property 24, but they might allow you to advertise it on property on social media. And if they say yes, then fine, you haven't advertised it on the eXp systems, but you go here and you can manually add a property. So you just say add a listing, and it's like listing it anywhere else. You will add in the photos, add in the description, and so on, and then you'll also be able to choose that listing whenever you want to place an ad. Okay, and then on the left-hand side here, analytics, you go into there, you will see stats of all your ads and what's happening, and what the reaction has been, and so on and so forth. Sorry if it's a bit slow. It is a bit slow. Anyway, you would see a lot of stats, and you can see what the results have been. But I actually want to move on to, I'm not going to wait forever for that, is if you go into those campaigns again. So now here you will be able to see what campaigns you're busy running at the moment, which is like the one I've just created. There we go. So the one I have just created, you'll see at the top there, but it's still in draft because I didn't pay for it. But let's just take any of these. Let's take that one. I can actually, while the ad is running, I can even go and edit it and change the areas. I can change the wording and change what the ad looks like, even swap the image around. So if I feel it's not doing what I wanted to do, then that's it. But now, as I said, we really do get good reaction on this, but it's not magic. Okay, it's not magic. It doesn't mean you spend 400 Rand in your property sales. I mean, if it was that easy, great. But consistent spend on this, the return on the money you spend is huge. I generally probably spend 2,500 Rand a month. You don't have to spend that much, but on our listings, as I said, I usually wait maybe 3 weeks, see what Property 24 is doing. If I'm not successful, then I start campaigns here. 2,500 Rand a month, but the amount of listings we sell, that's 30,000 Rand a year. I know it is a lot of money, but it's nothing compared to us probably selling 10, 15 listings because of this. You take that commission into account for a 30,000 Rand investment, and plus as I said, your sellers are also seeing this because it's honing in on people in those areas that are interested in properties, etc. Your sellers are also usually looking at property websites, seeing what's the competition is like, what their house looks like on Property 24. They're also looking for other houses. So they are definitely interested in property, and they will be seeing your ad when they go on social media. So that's another thing. So potential sellers will also see your ad. So it's good branding in your area in any case, apart from the fact that you're advertising and selling your listing. So yeah, I think that's basically what I want to say and showed you how we use Flow, and it is effective, especially the bigger picture. Invest in your business. Okay, everybody, you have a wonderful, wonderful week.